80 feet beneath Manhattan, behind a 90-ton steel door, lies one of the world's greatest hidden treasures, thousands of tons of gold.
What they saw next was astounding.
Why, after World War II, countries like France shipped their gold to America in giant tankers, taking US dollars in return. For decades, the US dollar has ruled the global economy like an untouchable king. Can the dollar keep its iron grip on the world's wealth? Could BRICS create a currency to replace it? Could the Chinese Yuan take the crown? And if the dollar falls, will the world be better or worse? You will find that all in this video. Before diving into history, let's understand four main pillars on which US dollar stands America's economy. Worth $30 trillion, the largest in the world. No other country comes close. Reserve currency status. 58% of all foreign exchange reserves are in US dollars. Even countries keep huge dollar reserves to trade internationally. Global financial system. After World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement made the dollar as good as gold. And lastly, Petrodollar Deal. Since the 1970s, most oil sales worldwide are done in US dollars. Now, how did this happen? This is a very interesting story. British pound was dominating currency before World War II, and in 1944, when the whole of Europe was destroyed by the Second World War, the American allies had become almost bankrupt. Then a Marshall Plan was made. At that time, the United States held a Bretton Woods Conference in July 1944, in which it was decided to grant loans for development works for short-term and long-term development. They can build towns, cities, roads, and infrastructure. The IMF was established for short-term lending, and the World Bank for long-term lending, all dealing in US dollars. The Bretton Woods Agreement linked the dollar to gold, $35 for 1 ounce. Countries gave America their gold, and in return, got dollars to rebuild after the war. But in the 1960s, America printed more dollars than it had gold, especially to fund the Vietnam War that was against the Bretton Woods Agreement. France's President Charles de Gaulle famously said, "America can print as many dollars as it wants, but you can't print gold." As per the Bretton Woods Agreement, President de Gaulle began extracting his gold at $35 per ounce. At this price, with dollar weakening and inflation, it was a huge blow for U.S. From 1963 to 1966, in around 3 years, loaded with trucks, planes, and warships, France withdrew all its 3,300 tons of gold from American banks. West Germany and other countries also started efforts for this. All this was being done in secret. That year, President Richard Nixon went on TV and announced the U.S. would stop exchanging dollars for gold.
Directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
A few moments later.
It was meant to be temporary, but it became permanent. This is a ticking time bomb. Nothing is certain, but one thing for sure, this has to explode at some point. From that moment, the dollar was backed by nothing but trust. U.S. national debt at the time was $400 billion. Today, it's $34 trillion, more than 125% of America's GDP. After gold backing ended, the U.S. needed something big to save dollar. Arab and Israel war saved them. They struck a historic deal with Saudi Arabia in 1974. It was when the Arab world lost a major war to Israel. Muslim Arab world had a panic, a wave of shame, and Saudi Arabia's stoppage of oil supply to Western countries had also proved unsuccessful. It was a time when Saudi Arabia, as a state, and the House of Saud needed tight security to protect their kingdom. Saudi Arabia agreed to sell oil only in US dollars and invest the profits in America. In return, the US guaranteed that it will provide military security to Saudi Arabia and sell weapons. Because Saudi Arabia led OPEC, most oil-exporting countries followed, creating the petrodollar system. While gold was no longer behind it now, it was black gold. For the import-export balance, countries started keeping dollar reserves along with oil and gas. This is one of the main reasons to put sanctions on Iran and Russian oil to promote trade in U.S. dollars. The more dollar reserves the country has, the more stable its economy is considered to be. But today, once again, the American dollar empire is facing a decline. The decline has not happened, but it is beginning. How is that possible? Recall we said a few minutes ago that President Nixon, by delinking dollars from gold, set a ticking time bomb. Today, two things threaten the dollar's dominance. 1. As the world uses less oil and gas, demand for petrodollars could drop. The world's need for petrodollars will also decrease. Obviously, if a country does not have to buy billions of dollars of oil and gas every month, why would it keep billions of dollars in reserves? It will sell them in the market too. If trust in the dollar falls, the U.S. won't be able to borrow cheaply or print its way out of debt. The share of world trade done in dollars has already fallen from over 70% to about 54%. The euro and Chinese yuan are taking more share. Another danger comes from using the dollar as a political weapon, freezing assets and imposing sanctions. In 2022, the U.S. and its allies froze $300 billion of Russia's reserves by saying these will be used for rebuilding of Ukraine. This sent a clear message worldwide. If America doesn't trust you, your money isn't safe. This was a major dishonesty and cheating.
We're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen. This includes VTB, the second largest bank in Russia, which has $250 billion.
Countries like China and Russia secretly responded by stockpiling gold. China now holds over 2,300 tons. When Russia faced sanctions after the annexation of Crimea in 2014, it had begun to transfer its reserves into gold. Russia has gathered over 2,350 tons of gold reserves so far. BRICS created the new development bank in 2015 to give loans in local currencies, not just dollars. About 1/3 of its $39 billion in loans are in Yuan, Rand, or Brazilian real. Some dream of a single BRICS currency, but the dollar's 4 pillars, the U.S. economy, reserve status, IMF, World Bank dominance, and petrodollar, still make it hard to replace. History shows no superpower collapses from outside attack. It falls from within. If America's allies lose trust, if national debt spins out of control, or if political chaos at home grows, the dollar's empire could weaken just like the British pound did after World War II. For now, China's biggest trading partner is still the U.S., with over $500 billion traded each year, all in dollars. The real danger may not be BRICS or China, but America's own internal politics and debt ceiling battles. The dollar's rule isn't ending tomorrow, but the cracks are there. The gold vault in Manhattan may still stand, but the real foundation of the dollar is trust. And in the game of global power, trust is the hardest currency to keep.